Okay, today is March 10, 2022. This is the meeting of the Kubernetes Storage Special Interest Group. As a reminder, this meeting is public, recorded, and posted on YouTube. So today we're going to go through the agenda as usual. We're going to do the 1.24 planning spreadsheet to figure out what items the SIG is working on, what the status of each one of those items is, upcoming deadlines to be aware of. If you opted in to do a blog for your feature for this release, please note that the feature blog opt-in process, it requires you to have declared that you're going to do that by the 23rd, which is coming up soon. And then the next big date to be aware of is the 30th, which is just about 3 weeks from now, will be the code freeze for 124. And if you have anything else that you want to chat about, feel free to add it to the agenda and we'll get to it after the getting the status updates on the planning spreadsheet. So with that, we're going to go ahead and switch over to the planning spreadsheet. And let me organize my screen a little here. Okay, I think we are good to go. So I don't know if Hemant is on the line for the first item, CSI online offline resizing.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So I opened a PR yesterday for cleaning up some of the going resizing GA, removing some deprecated features that we like we used to call nodes expand between node stage and node publish. We deprecated that because we are going to call node expand always after node publish. So this is confusion. So I opened the PR for that. I'm working on making read write many uh, actually read write many for read write many volumes. We do not use to call node expand on every node. I had a PR for that like long time back, like a year back actually. I'm just reworking that PR. I'm almost done, but I have to just fix it up for like recently changed recover from resize uh, feature that we merged in last update. So I'm just updating that. I should be opening that second PR by maybe today or tomorrow. Like I have this, yeah, and then after these two, I think I will open another PR to flip the feature gate to GA.
Awesome. Thank you, Hemant. Good progress. Next up, we have recovering from resize failures. Any update on that one?
Uh, I have not like I have to work on a slight design item for that one because we have a goal to previously we only allowed recovering to a value higher than previous value. So it's like it has to be like at least 1 byte or a little bit higher than what was the previous actual volume size. Now, Michelle and we discussed that it should be possible to recover it all the way back to original size. So for that, I have to kind of tweak the design a little bit. So just I have not started on that actually yet. So, but I will start on it after finishing the first, like the previous item, PRs for previous item.
Cool. Sounds good. And then do we want to keep this as beta for this release, or do we want to change it to design?
Uh, we'll try to get this to beta. I think it just requires a minor change, but I need to think through and do it.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you, Hemant. Next up, issues related to assuming mount volumes or mount points from Jing. Is Jing on the line by any chance?
Yes. So I'm starting to work on that, but no update yet.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jing.
Sure.
Let me go ahead and mark that as started. Okay, next item is determine mount points without relying on proc mounts.
Yes, so this one, there is a new function called mounted fast was added and merged into movie sys repo. And they also made a new release of that. So the original author is not, I don't see any the next step work yet. I am thinking to ping him to see whether he's planned to work on that. Otherwise, we can find some help, or I can pick it up. So basically, we need to, I think, import the new version of that kind of mount info util, and then we can utilize the mounted fast function in Kubernetes.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you, Jing, for that update, and thank you for following up on this. Next item is storage capacity tracking for pod scheduling. Patrick.
I'm here.
Oh, awesome. Hey, Patrick.
So this wasn't something that we initially planned to work on for this release cycle, but when it was pointed out that it is a new object in a beta group and we have kept it in beta too long, so we kind of tried to pull together whether it's ready or not. The open was still around integration with the autoscaler. They had a PR open for that, but it hadn't been reviewed for a while. Given the choice between promoting it to GA and doing another beta, we instead opted to try the GA promotion, because it is working when you don't use autoscaler. It does what it's supposed to do. You get the ability to fully put schedule pods that use the entire storage cluster, all the storage capacity in the cluster. Without this feature, in this scenario, you end up with a situation where the pod can't be scheduled because autoscaler is always, the scheduler is always picking the wrong node. So I updated the cap. That's, I think, yeah. Well, we merged the cap. We then had folks from SIG scheduling questioning their decision a little bit, and they started to look at what would be needed to make autoscaler integration work better. And that's where we are at the moment. I think I've convinced those people who were a bit skeptical about going GA that we are okay with doing it. There's a cap update pending with further instructions or this documenting the limitations. There is a code PR pending that does the API change and removes the feature gate check. So from that perspective, it's fully implemented. It just all needs to be merged to be completed for 1.24. And then we know where future work might be needed if it really affects users, which perhaps at this point probably is the biggest stumbling block for me. I don't know who is going to deploy local storage in a cluster with autoscaler, how they are doing it, how they want it to work. And if I don't have user feedback, it's fairly low priority to compare to the other things that I could be working on. So that's currently where I am. And
makes sense. And do you know if SIG scheduling is trying to block this or just kind of?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
It looked like they would for a while, but I've been working with Aldo in particular intensively the last 1 or 2 weeks, running scale tests again to show him that it works and how it works, discussing the open autoscaler PR again and how it could be improved. So I think they are now accepting that we move ahead with this. They weren't too happy because they would have liked a much different solution. But I think, I'm not sure what that other solution that they have in mind is practical, or what other drawbacks it will have. That's definitely an area that would need some more investigations. And my feeling is that we shouldn't block this current state of a feature for that, because it's useful as it is.
Got it. Cool. Thank you for that update, Patrick, and thank you for helping drive this forward. Okay, next item is CSI ephemeral volumes. existing API.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, so I'm working on a bug fix right now. Someone raised this in Slack. Tao Shen mentioned that FS group does not get applied on CSI inline volumes. So I'm working on addressing that. I think I'll have a fix out for review shortly. I'm just testing that today. There's still an open bug on volume reconstruction that I need to look into, and still have some work I need to do to make sure that the tests are all covered.
Awesome. Thank you, Jonathan. Next item is volume group API, but I believe that item is blocked. Or Xing, what's the status of this one?
Oh, this one basically I'm working on updating the cap.
Got it. Okay. And then we have CSI out of tree, move iSCSI driver fit and finish. Looks like Humble left us a comment, progressing towards 1.0 release. Okay, and next item is the Samba SIF CSI driver to GA. I think last status update here was trying to fix the build. Not sure if it was resolved. Anyone have an update on that one?
You know, I think I tried to ping Andy and didn't manage to connect. Let's see if I can try harder on that.
Okay, cool. No worries. Thanks, Matt. I'm gonna mark this as no update for now, and hopefully we can get an update next time. Okay, next item is PVC volume snapshot namespace transfer design. Anyone have an update on this one?
So Masaki is there today, right?
Yep, but no update.
Okay. But you will be working on this one with Mustafa, right?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
planning to.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you, Misaki. All right, next up is CSI Volume Health, additional metrics and or events. Any updates on this?
Right, so it's still review in progress. Right now, just waiting for someone from Signode to review it. Got approval from the metric side.
Nice, cool. Thank you, Xing. Followed by CSI Volume Health programmatic response. This should be designed for this cycle.
Right, so I pinned Nick. So he said he will start the design in a few weeks.
Got it.
So ping him again.
Next item is volume populator data source, add metrics, support, and testing. This is out of tree work. Ben, any updates on this one?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. The metric support in the library is almost done, and then after that, be able to do the beta release. There is an entry component of this, which is updating the feature gate to beta. I'm going to go ahead and push that PR this week, even before we have the other release out, just so people can review it and make sure there's no problems. I still could use help on E2E testing. That's going to be the hard part with this one. I have an idea of what the E2E tests need to be, but getting them written, it's going to be a challenge. So anyone who wants to assist with that, I'd appreciate it. But the rest of it's going fine.
What you
Awesome.
mentioned the other day, there was someone who volunteered to help.
Yeah, but it hasn't actually gone anywhere. So
Okay.
Anyone on the call interested in helping Ben with writing E2E tests for this feature?
I mean, we can start writing E2E tests now based on the alpha releases, and then update them to beta when the beta releases are out. It should be pretty easy. But yeah, just contact me on Slack.
Cool. Yeah, and this is a good opportunity for folks who might be new to the SIG to be able to jump in. Helping write E2E tests really helps you understand kind of the system, and it's a fairly kind of low bar for entry. So if you're interested, reach out to Ben. Okay, next item is Cozy, the object storage API. Any updates on this one?
So I believe the copy has been reviewed. Let's see, Shao just added some more review comments yesterday.
Next item is change block tracking. Thank you, Shing, for that update. Change block tracking, any update on that one?
So we did have a discussion on it in yesterday's data production working group. So Fang, I just saw Fang a message on the Slack channel saying he and a few other folks just met to discuss this morning. So he has some update on that.
Awesome. Sounds like we have progress, so that is good. Thank you, Shing. Next item is runtime assisted mounting.
Hey, so for this, yeah, went through some more back and forth with Signode. One of the initial, one of their pushbacks was that they do not want a runtime class to have any capabilities around storage. So basically now I'm reworking that. I found an alternative, like we can potentially rework that through field in the pod spec on how PVCs get mounted and specify the runtime assist, like the direct mount as a field there. So reworking the cap with this approach. So it's a bit of a change in the approach overall, but simplifies a few other things.
Got it. So overall, kind of, you found a way to move forward effectively without SIG storage here, right?
No, I think we'll definitely need SIG storage reviews, but
Okay.
got around the SIG node pushback around runtime class.
Okay, sounds good. I'm going to mark this as started. All right, cool. Thank you for the update, Deep. Next item is CSI Proxy for Windows translation to privileged containers. Is Mauricio on the line?
He's traveling. So I think we don't have much update yet.
Okay, cool. No worries. Thank you, Jing, for the update. Next is node expansion secret. Looks like Humble left us an update. PR is up for review. Oops. Okay. Next item is SE Linux relabeling using mount options.
So I am working on the volume reconstruction right now. I have a PR for review and I am testing it with multiple, with more volumes than just two, to see if there are any performance impacts. And when that gets merged, I will continue with SE Linux.
Cool. Thank you, Jan, for that update. Mark this as started. And then we'll skip over the next two items since they are complete. And then we have CSI Migration overall core. Looks like we have one bug fix to be reviewed. Anyone have an update on that one? Matt, would you happen to know anything about this?
No, I don't. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. Mark that as no update for now. Next up, we have the different in-tree drivers that need CSI migration. So first up is Vsphere. Anyone have an update on that one?
So I think there were some questions around what is the minimum required Vsphere version for CSI migration. I think we are still discussing that internally.
Got it. Okay.
Sorry, I was saying that if you want to enable it by default in 124, I think that's looks like it's going to skip, right? We're not going to do that.
I don't know. So we'll have to see, because we're talking. There was it's confusing. I see there are different documents in different places. We have different version. So just trying to sort that out. If it's still the same as what we declared before, which is 67U3, then we don't have to do anything and continue. Otherwise, yeah, we probably need to figure out what to do.
Cool.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for the update, Shing. Next up, we have Azure Disk and Azure File. Last status here was kept merged, PR out, moving to GA. And docs. Oh, so this one had was merged and docs needed update. Any further update there? Okay, I'm going to mark those as no update and keep moving. GCE, any update on that one? Beta on by default?
No, it is on by default, and we're sticking with the plan of moving to 125. So like in terms of the 124 stuff, we're done.
Got it.
So the next, the next updates will come hopefully for the next cycle.
Okay. So I think then we can mark this item as done.
I think that's fair, yeah.
Let me go ahead and do that. And so the goal this cycle was to be beta and on by default, which is complete. So cool. Next item is AWS Windows support beta on by default as well. Any update? This one looks like it'll be delayed to 125. Any change in that? I'm going to go ahead and cross.
Same.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and cross it out since we don't need to track this. Okay, we'll reintroduce it for the 125. Okay, next item is OpenStack.
So, so Dim submitted a PR, the doc PR that's been reviewed. I think that's the last thing left for this.
Awesome. So it looks like this should be complete soon. All right, thank you for that update, Shing. Next item is sefrbd and sefs. Looks like Humble has left us comments on these. PR up for review for the first one. And for the second one, need input from the team. I have requested the same in the KEP issue with context. So I think the KEP needs review here.
I think it's questions on the issue, the enhancement issue itself.
Got it. Okay, so I think we need to follow up with that offline. But I'll go ahead and mark this as started. And next up is portworx. Anyone have an update on the portworx side?
No update on that one.
All right, next item is always honor the reclaim policy. Anyone have an update on this one?
Yeah, so I think Deepak has a, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, I reviewed a couple of PRs. They look okay. I think the only thing that's really missing is E2E test, but that should be added easily.
Did you say the only thing missing is testing?
Yeah, there is no E2E test.
Got it.
But I think it can be added later.
Cool. Thank you, Jan. Next item is control volume mode conversion between source and target PVC. Last update here was work in progress PR out. Any further updates here?
Hey, well, the PR is still out. I'm hoping it'll be merged soon, and then I have some follow-up PRs that are sort of dependent on that. So we'll put those out soon too.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you for the update. Next item is secret protection. Prevent deletion while in use. Depends on the in-use protection kept below. So let me see here. Any update on this or the subsequent item, Masaki?
No update.
Okay. No worries. The remaining items are co-owned between SIG storage and other SIGs, so let's go over those. First up is with SigAuth, the user ID ownership in config maps and secrets preserve the default file mode bit set in atomic writer volumes. Any update here? Looks like we were looking for an owner.
Yeah, the original, like the person who opened the kept, there hasn't been any update. So
Okay, sounds like we're still looking for an owner. So if anybody's sitting on the sideline looking for an item, this might be a good one to jump into. We may not be able to get it done for 124, but you can start investigating and figuring out what needs to be done, and then we can pick it up for 125. Next item is co-owned with SIG node, ungraceful node shutdown. Last status update, work in progress. PR should be out soon. Any updates on this one?
Yeah, PR is out. It's been reviewed.
Awesome. Thank you, Shing. Next up, we have SigApps. Address issues with PVC created by stateful set will not be auto removed. Any updates on that one?
Yeah, so this is staying in alpha for 124. I mean, I think our goal will be to get it in beta in 125, but until we start that cycle, I don't know if there's going to be more updates here.
Got it. Okay.
The gap here is that I think we didn't actually end up having a great plan for how to validate this in alpha, which I will work on. Although if any of the old timers have any suggestions around that, I'd love to talk with them, if that makes sense.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I think that sounds like a good offline discussion. And I'm going to go ahead and just scratch this from the 124 spreadsheet, and we can reintroduce it for 125. All right, next item is SigApps volume expansion for stateful sets.
Hey, so I did not get much time to work on this, but I'm still looking into some of the review comments on the cap.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you for the update. And then last item we have is execution hook. Any update on this?
Yeah, this one's still same. Stay in design. We don't have much
okay.
update. We can probably just yeah,
remove it.
remove it from this release. Yeah, we continue next.
Sounds good. Okay, cool. Done. And now let's go ahead and switch back to our agenda. Looks like we have no PRs to discuss and no design reviews, miscellaneous items. First up, Xing, volume snapshot GA.
Right, so we talked about this in the data protection working group yesterday as well. We have several phases for the volume snapshot API. Then in 1.20, that's the first phase when we add V1 support. And phase 2 was in Kubernetes 1.21, we changed the storage version from V1 beta 1 to V1. And then we also deprecated the V1 beta 1 API. So now it's almost a year. Our plan is to remove V1 beta 1 API in 1.24 release. So I just want to see if there are any concerns. So brought it up yesterday, didn't hear any objections. We actually also talked about this one a year ago in the data protection working group.
So yeah, I can just add, we actually just pushed out the validation webhook stuff in GKE in 1.23, I guess.
Okay.
That whole plan for a ratcheting webhook seems to have worked quite well.
Okay.
Like I think that was a good strategy for this. We only had one cluster where someone had a V1 beta 1 snapshot resource that would be invalid in V1. So like I think that's good news. And yeah, we should probably proceed with the deprecation before anyone, has a chance to start adding more beta resources and break.
So it's
break
already
things.
It is already deprecated in the external snapshot 4.1 release, right? We deprecated the V1 beta 1. Oh, you're saying you should deprecate. Is that what you mean?
No, sorry, I was making a small joke.
Okay.
The sense that I think we're actually in a good state for proceeding to V1, and
Okay.
any extra time we wait will just give opportunity for things to go wrong.
So you're fine if we just say we announce remove V1 beta 1 in 1.24, right? That's
I think that makes sense to me. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Then because right now I think SIG release they are going to have a blog just for things that are going to be deprecated. So I think this would be a good one to add it there.
Cool. Thank you for that discussion and update. If anybody has any major concerns about this, reach out. Otherwise, this is happening in 1.24. And next item is archiving some SIG storage sub-projects. Anyone want to talk about this one?
So yeah, so I sent this out. I got feedback from Humble, so he actually read the pretty detailed notes here. So it looks like they are still using that. So that's fine. I think we can keep those two last projects. That means for the remaining, I think there are 5 maybe remaining projects that we will submit for archive. So if there are any concerns, please speak out. Or should we wait a little bit longer? We can wait a little bit. And, I can wait until next meeting, maybe. We can check again, give people more time to respond.
Yeah, that sounds good. So if anybody on the call has any concerns about archival of some of these old projects other than Gluster.
So, okay, so actually 4, not 5, yeah. So it's
4.
mainly just 2 because the CSI app, that CSI API, that one we know because that's just no longer used. Cool. So basically it's just the CSI driver image populator and CSI libfc, those two looks like. we have not got any response saying people need them.
Got it.
So I can also just reply to this one just to say, hey, we got response for the cluster projects.
think that
The
might be a good
remaining,
idea.
for the remaining ones, we have not heard anything. Maybe just a reminder.
Sounds good. Anyone on the call have any objections? If not, we'll give it another 2 weeks and then go ahead and proceed. Okay. Any other items from anybody on the call? Anything they hope to discuss? We have a little bit of time.
There was a discussion in a code review about the NFS subdirectory provisioner, the CSI NFS subdirectory provisioner. I was in a code review and people were saying this repo is not maintained anymore. Maybe we should get rid of it. But I know the people use it.
I think when I checked the commits, this one still has commits. Can you send me the link for, because I believe
Well, the conclusion of the thread was, maybe we should put this repo up for adoption because it's one that people definitely use, and if no one is
what do
actively,
you mean? What do you mean for adoption? This is is this our project? This is one of our.
It was under Kubernetes CSI. Yeah,
okay.
But it was like someone was updating the dependencies from like Kubernetes 1.18 because it hadn't been updated since then. So like it was just languishing.
Is this the drive? Oh, this is the subdir provision.
The subdir driver. Yeah. So
this is under
this
CSI
isn't the CSI one, right? This is the external provisioner.
Yeah, the external provisioner. Yeah, thank you, Michelle.
Kubernetes
the external provisioner.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't put a link in the agenda. I didn't have it handy, but I just wanted to sort of mention in this call that I know people use the driver, and it could use some maintenance by
This one has a release 29 days ago. That's why I'm not saying this one is inactive. So the last release is the latest 29 days ago. There was a release.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the concern is that I think actually to do that release we had to do a lot of poking. Because I think there's only like one maintainer really.
Who is maintaining this?
We could definitely use, more maintainers.
Who is maintaining this one?
Kieran is the one.
Oh, it's Kieran. Okay. So yeah, if there are more maintainers, of course. So basically, you want to ask if anyone else is interested in helping. Is that the?
Yeah, I just call attention to that repo in particular because.
Okay.
The discussion was, maybe we should just deprecate this, and I was like, no, that would make some people sad, but like, I'm not going to step up to maintain it because I've got too many other things to do. So I maybe put out a call to say, this is something people care about.
What about the other one? There was another one, which is the NFS Ganesha. So probably same, right? Probably that one was last released. Oh, that was last released on November 2021. Probably similar. Those two.
Is there a CSI variant of this?
There is.
Why are folks still using the old one if there's the CSI one?
Is the CSI one maintained by Andy mostly? So CSI driver NFS. Okay, this one has a release.
No, not the NFS driver, but the external provisioner or the CSI provisioner.
Yeah. Saad was asking why people are still using that. Why they don't move to CSI driver?
Well, because that's not a provisioner. That's just an attacher, right?
No, we've added provision support to the CSI driver. And the provision, but I think the provisioner only does the subdir provisioning. It doesn't do the Ganesha one.
Okay, that makes sense then.
But I think Saad has a point. Like we should probably try to have people migrate away from this external provisioner subder one and move to the CSI driver, which is equivalent.
So it sounds like maybe not immediately, but eventually plan to deprecate this and start pushing folks to use the CSI one and see if there are any big gaps.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Cool, sounds good. And if anybody on the call is still using the external provisioner NFS subder, speak up, let us know, and let us know if there's any gaps between that and the CSI variant, and hopefully we can archive this at some point. Okay, any other topics for discussion today? All right, if there's nothing else, you'll get 15 minutes back in your day. Thanks, folks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you. Take care.